I didn't mention it in my cold open, but I'm going to mention it now, and that's Caitlin Clark herself of the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be.
The quiet truth behind Caitlin Clark's Nike deal was finally said out loud by Stephen A. Smith, and the WNBA isn't going to like it. According to him, that Christmas Day Nike commercial featuring Travis Scott and the Kelce brothers wasn't just marketing. It was a declaration. Caitlin Clark, in Nike's eyes, has outgrown the league she plays in. Stephen had directly connected the dots between the money, the resentment, and why this moment permanently shifts women's basketball. The question now is simple: is Stephen A. calling it like he sees it, or is he manufacturing controversy? Timing matters here, so let's start with what actually happened this week.
Hey, Caitlin! Can you make it from there?
Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it from there. No chance.
Caitlin, from here, don't let. You got it.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin, from here might be impressive. Am I right?
Whatever, Che.
So right here.
From there!
From anywhere.
All right, well, looks like.
On Christmas Day, Nike dropped the From Anywhere commercial. That date was no accident. Exactly 40 years earlier, Michael Jordan's first Christmas commercial aired. Nike does not believe in coincidences. By aligning Caitlin Clark with that date, Nike was sending a clear message about her value to their brand. What pushed Stephen A. over the edge was who wasn't in the commercial. No current WNBA players. No legends like Diana Taurasi or Cheryl Swoops. Instead, Nike placed Caitlin alongside cultural heavyweights Travis Scott, Jason Kelce, and Travis Kelce. The WNBA ecosystem was intentionally bypassed. Nike didn't want Caitlin framed as a women's basketball star. They wanted her framed as pop culture royalty.
Good basketball player, but you make it from here.
Jason, show them how you make it rain from downtown.
Can you hit it from here, Caitlin? Gotta make your free throws.
Oh!
So right here. Yep, baller. Bet you can't do that, Caitlin.
Stephen A. says this was deliberate. In his view, Nike was telling the world Caitlin Clark no longer needs validation from the WNBA. She is bigger than the league. She is a global brand that exists beyond women's basketball, and that reality threatens to fracture the league's fragile balance. Initially, reports valued her 8-year Nike deal at $28 million, already making her the highest-paid endorsement athlete in WNBA history. But Stephen A. called that number laughably low. Industry insiders estimate her signature shoe alone could generate $150 million in its first 3 years. Let that sink in. One shoe line generating more revenue than what entire WNBA rosters earn combined. The average WNBA salary hovers around $76,000, with the max under $250,000. This isn't a gap, it's a canyon. According to Stephen A., this massive wealth disparity is the real source of tension. It's no longer about basketball. It's about one player earning more from a single product than most players will earn in their entire careers. Human nature doesn't handle that well. Stephen A. didn't sugarcoat it, he said resentment toward Caitlin Clark is guaranteed to rise. His logic is blunt. Veterans who built the league, who played in near-empty arenas and flew commercial for years, now feel erased. They carried the weight, and someone else walked in and received the Michael Jordan treatment instantly. Stephen A. warned that the hard fouls, cold shoulders, and physical play we saw last season were only the beginning. With Caitlin now positioned as the face of Nike basketball across men's and women's platforms, the target on her back just grew exponentially. Money, in his view, is the fuel behind the coming hostility. So why did Nike take such an aggressive stance? Because Nike isn't emotional, it's data-driven. They saw the TV ratings Caitlin generated. They saw jersey sales in Indianapolis. They saw fans lining up around the block. She's a unicorn. She transcends the sport. While the WNBA focused on equal promotion and spreading attention across all 12 teams, Nike went all in on the star. Stephen A. has long accused the league of mishandling Caitlin by trying to dim her shine to protect others. This commercial exposed that miscalculation. The WNBA tried to sell balance. Nike chose dominance. The contrast is humiliating for the league. While the WNBA treats Caitlin as just another player who needs to wait her turn, Nike presents her as a global icon. Stephen A. says this proves the league has lost narrative control. Caitlin Clark is now more famous than the WNBA itself. When Travis Scott is in your ad, you don't need league approval anymore. You've crossed into cultural phenomenon territory. That's why Stephen A. connected this moment to every controversy from the past 2 years: the Kennedy Carter hip check, the forced Angel Reese rivalry narrative, the Olympic team snub. He argues they were all symptoms of the same problem: resentment and an institutional effort to humble Caitlin Clark. The Olympic exclusion looks especially absurd now. USA Basketball claimed she needed more experience, while Nike simultaneously launched a campaign bigger than the entire Olympic marketing push. Stephen A. called that hypocrisy out in real time. The gatekeepers tried to remind her she was beneath the system. Instead, she became richer, bigger, and more powerful, while they look small and outdated. In Stephen A.'s eyes, this is a victory lap. He's been saying for 2 years that the WNBA was mishandling its brightest star, and Nike just validated his argument. Corporate America saw what basketball leadership refused to admit: Caitlin Clark is different. Trying to downplay her generational appeal only magnified it. That brings us to the shoe, the centerpiece of this entire shift. The Caitlin ones, set for a spring 2026 release, already have absurd hype. Signature sneakers are rare in basketball, especially for WNBA players. Only a select few, like Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, have them. But Caitlin's rollout is on a completely different level. Industry experts aren't comparing it to typical WNBA launches. They're comparing it to the early Air Jordan era. Lines are expected. Resale markets are expected to explode. Nike has already unveiled the interlocking CC logo nationwide. That logo matters. Just like the Jumpman makes you think of Jordan, not the Bulls, Nike wants CC to make you think of Caitlin, not the Indiana Fever, not even the WNBA. That subtle branding choice drives the wedge even deeper. Regardless of what league she plays in, Caitlin Clark is becoming her own brand, because Nike needs her far more than she needs the league. Stephen A. warned that this leverage is dangerous for the WNBA. If Caitlin retired tomorrow, the league's value would crater. Harsh, but in his words, honest. Upcoming TV rights negotiations are essentially Caitlin Clark negotiations. Networks are paying for her. Everything else is filler. Stephen A. also addressed the uncomfortable topic he never avoids: race. He's openly discussed how race influences how Caitlin is perceived. A white player from Iowa being positioned as the savior of a league built by black women inevitably fuels resentment. Nike placing all its weight behind her amplifies those narratives about privilege and opportunity. But Stephen A. counters that with cold business logic. Caitlin sells tickets. Caitlin sells jerseys. Caitlin delivers ratings the league has never seen. Instead of resisting her, players should recognize that she's expanding the salary ceiling for everyone. Charter flights, better hotels, increased pay, more media attention, all of that followed Caitlin. Focusing on who's driving the boat instead of enjoying the ride, he argues, is self-defeating. Finally, Stephen A. highlighted what the Travis Scott and Kelsey involvement truly represents. Caitlin Clark is a crossover star. Nike is saying she pulls in NFL fans, hip-hop fans, and people who've never watched a single WNBA game. That's marketing gold. For decades, the WNBA marketed inward only to its existing audience. Caitlin shattered that wall. Stephen A. warned that if players try to rough her up or ice her out next season, the backlash won't just come from basketball fans. It'll come from the mainstream public that now sees her as a cultural icon, and that pressure will be far louder than anything the league has dealt with before.